office here, which is basically going to be the same thing. Let me see, salon demo score. So the same thing here. You're gonna see all when you first get into the back office, the cloud. You know, you see the sales chart. You know what they made today, tips, gratuity. Well, tips do the same thing, but taxes, total amounts, and everything on this page. And you have the same options: manager function, customer, you know, sales reports, operation reports, settings. So you're gonna have, for the most part, the same type of options as you do for restaurant. There's only some slight differences here. Under basic setting, you're still going to go into employee group. Well, you have the four, you know, under the salon, it gives you a designer. So you could, you know, that's how you put in, you know, designers or text, whatever you want to maybe rename it or add on those, you can. But then you add the employee info from here. You add the employees from under employee info. So under designer, you have all these designers, right? The only difference is that, you know, you're going to still put in their name, their first name, last name, all the general information. Security, the same thing, what level of security, level 1 through 5. Same thing with the cloud access. For the most part, designers, they don't get cloud access, only for the owners, managers. Payroll is optional. If they do payroll, then, you know, you put the hire date, the pay rate, okay. Commission is important, because this is how, you know, they get commission on the products that they sell or the services that they do. So by default, it's set for no. So if they want to use, if this particular person is going to use commission, you set it for yes. And the percentage, so whether they get 20% commission, they get 50%, they get, you know, whatever the percentage you set up here, or it's a fixed amount. Maybe they get, I don't know, $200 commission, a straight fixed commission, you know, or 500, whatever it may be. So whatever the commission is, you have to set it up here. All right. Rental fee. This the system has a rental booth rental. So for example, I know with barbers, some beauty shops or designer, they have to pay for the chair. They rent it out, pretty much. So with the system, it tracks. It creates an invoice for you for the designer, where the owner could have a log of when that designer paid for his booth rental, how much he owes, and so on. But this would have to be set up. Rental fee would have to be set for yes. The rental amount, how much they pay, $100, $250, whatever it may be. The payment term is whether they do it daily, weekly, monthly. All right. Their start date, you have to put a start date in there. If there's some kind of security deposit, but this has to be set up. And also, yeah. So from here, this portion of the rental, booth rental, has to be set up. Some merchants, you know, use this. Some don't. They already have their own set procedure in place. So, but it's an extra service that we have, that we offer. Okay. Same thing with payment processing. The employees, the designers, they can have their own MID. Obviously, they have to fill out documentation for them to be eligible to be accepted for their own MID. So then what happens is that every time they ring up a credit card sale for the merchant, that credit card sale gets deposited right into that designer's bank account. So they have their own, so they kind of work as their own boss in a way, their own business. The way that works is that, you know, they'll have, if they're set for processing, then this gets set up for yes, credit card charge yes. They'll have a MID number, they'll have a UCharge ID number, and a password. So this will be all filled out once they have it in place. And then from the POS side, every time they go and they do a transaction, there's going to be like security enabled on it. So, because like for example, right now, if I go to check-in, it lets me right in. But usually, once like there's MIDs in the system, then it requires each person to go in with the password. So, for example, like when you go do cashier out, you get like a PIN pad that you have to put in here. So when you have a multi-MID employee checking in, you go to check-in, then that PIN pad is going to pop up. So then the system knows, okay, we're ringing, this person has a multi-MID account. So that's how it tracks it. And then when they're ready to pay and they go to checkout, you go to checkout and that PIN pad comes up. The PIN pad comes up and the designer has to put in their number. So then the system knows that that particular sale is not going to fall under the merchant, the actual merchant. It's when they process the credit card, it's going to fall under the employee who's got the MID already set up. So that's how the system knows which account or which MID that credit card seller is going to go to, and then they get they'll get their their money in the bank just like the merchant would, but instead of going to the merchant, it goes right to the employee. All right. So that's also something new that we have that we offer. All right. Another thing here is schedule is very important. If you are not on the schedule for this particular on that particular day, you won't be able to take appointments. You won't be able to take any services. So from here, if you're on, so say today, I don't know, today's Thursday, and if Jane is not on the schedule for today, her name is not going to be here. So Jane won't be able to go in here and make any and take any services or appointments. So that's why in the back office here, you have to make sure that that person is on the clock from open to whatever the work schedule is. Some owners, they don't want to keep going in here every week and adjusting it. So what we tell them to do, if you want, just Monday, all 7 days a week or all 5 days a week, just make sure to go in and hit yes for, Tuesday, yes, if they're working, and, from 9 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night. Or you do 9 to 6 or 9 to whatever the hours are. But make sure that they're on the schedule, because if not, maybe you forgot and you didn't highlight Friday, they're not going to be on Friday. So this is important, so make sure that the schedule is set in place. All right. And then on the description, any type of notes, anything about this employee, you can add in here. All right. But like I said, the most important thing in here is the schedule, rental fee, which is optional, the booth rental. Commission is important also, because if you get commission, you have to make sure you have that set up and enabled. Payroll, and obviously security. All right. So that's the information that we require when you're setting up an employee in Salon. Okay. Any questions on anything on the employees? No. Okay. Menu management. On the menu setup, it's kind of very similar to the restaurant. You have your categories on the top here. You can put as many as you want. All right. And then under manicure, you have your items. All right. So you create your items through here. So when you put your pedicure, and then you would create an item. I'll go to this one here, for example. Do pedicure, you put in the item name. If this is a barcode item, shampoos, they want to ring it up with a scanner, you can do that. Obviously, you have to set up the barcode. If not, you're still going to have a button that you could ring it up with. The price, if there's a cost, if there's sales tax. Same thing here, hide, aka delete. All right. You can change the color on the button. You can set up as an open price if you want to. All right. So you add the item. Now this is the same thing here as a restaurant. You can either add an item one by one or do it on Excel format. Obviously, Salon is going to have probably a lot less items than well, not necessarily. It depends, I guess. But usually, you could probably get away with doing it one by one on this instead of an Excel format. But at the end of the day, it's your call which way you're going to do that. So from here, you put the general information here, and now this add item policy. Okay. Now item policy, this is how you're going to set up the commission. Right. So now, if this particular option, this is buff pedicure. So if this service gets commission, then you have to enable it to either employee commission or item policy. if they get 20% commission on this, you file, you know, what the employee gets, so you file the employee commission. Or it's a fixed amount, you know, maybe they get, you know, $5 as a commission for this, you know. Or they just get, you know, regular 20% commission, so you just put in the commission there. All right. And here, on max amount here, this is the max amount that they can get on this commission. So you could, you know, if it gets limited or restricted, you could put that max amount in it. Otherwise, you know, you just go by whatever the commission amount is, whether if it's a fixed rate or a percentage. Service time. This is where you would set up how long this service takes to get done. So if somebody's doing, what is this, buff pedicure, maybe it takes 20 minutes, you know, or 30 minutes. So you have to put the service time there, because this also comes into play when you make the appointment. You get an appointment and you put it in. It'll automatically, you know, block out half an hour time to do this service. Whereas if you just leave it for 0, then you manually would have to, you know, break up half an hour time from the time of the beginning of the appointment. All right, so it's easier just doing the timing, whether it's 60 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, 90 minutes, and so on. Okay, so the commission has to be set, and the service time has to be set for these particular items, for any items. Okay. And the same thing with the online appointments. Service time has to be set. All right. So from here, it's pretty much, you know, item name, price, tax. Want to change the color on? That's fine. And then item policy for the commission. All right. There's a package item. This is where you set up if you wanted to have like a package type item. So for example, let's see here. Say this buff pedicure, right? So put buff pedicure special. Where do you go? Buff pedicure special. All right, so now, so it's $25, right? Oh, that's fine, $25. It doesn't matter. Package item. Now I could link together my different items to fall under that buff package special for $25. So what I would do, I would just click the plus sign here. All right, hit search, and I'm gonna get everything that shows up on my database, all my services and my products. I could scroll. I have 5 pages of products that I could scroll, and I could select what I want as part of that buff pedicure special. So I could put in, I don't know here, let's say a mani, and I don't know, something else here. So you can put as many as you want, you know, UV gel set. All right, and then I hit select. So now I'm doing mani number 1 and UV gel set, UV French fill-in. I save it. Do you want to save? Yes. So now, see how it turns into this little P package with a little gift card? So now this is a buff pedicure package. It's $25, and it's going to consist of mani number 1 and UV gel set. All right, so that's how I kind of combined my services into one. Now, if I want to add 1 more, 2 more, I could do that. You know, doesn't matter. All right, so that's how that works. And then from here, like I said, you're just going to go one by one, adding those particular items. All right, so you either could do it that way. Now, right now, is there any questions on how to set this, on anything that I just did right now under the menus? No, okay. Also, modifier, same thing. You add a if you want to add modifiers, mostly for the salon. The modifier is just probably going to be the colors, you know, different colors, time frame, maybe for massages and things like that. But here, you know, you do the modifier template, and then you do the modifier group, and then the modifier item. Same thing that we've done with the restaurant, the same format and everything. Okay. You also have a top 10 service. You know, you can list the top 10 services that the merchant has, which comes into play when you're doing an appointment. So also when you're doing an appointment, So say you go to appointment here. So there's another way. If you move this over here, on the left-hand side, it lists all your services. All right, so you could scroll down, say somebody wants to do a particular service, you could just grab, say, health manicure number 1, and say the owner at 6 o'clock. You could put it like kind of in this space here, and then, you can continue and, set it up how you want. Save it, okay? Or, hit okay if it's correct. Or there's also a top 10 services, which makes it easy. So instead of you scrolling through all the items, maybe, you put your top 10 services on there. So your top 10 services, you don't have to look for on the list. You could just maybe see it from here. If it's here, then it's manicure, you could just kind of shift it over. All right. But the way to adjust this particular section is going into the back office, and this is where you put your top 10. So here, you could go from one category to another and say, this is, I want this particular item to be top 10. Just double click it, and this is the top 10. Say there's another one, I don't know, waxing or something, full leg, and you put it on here. So you could, have your top 10 up here on that appointment screen. If you don't want it, you want to take one out, a particular one, just hit, delete. It'll come off, and you could replace it with something else. So that's something minor, but it's in there. All right. So that's how you add the items. Now, if you wanted to add do everything to an Excel format, you could do it. It's pretty much the same process. Go to Excel upload, click on this Excel here, open it up. All this is the same thing. You put the category, the menu name, whether you want inventory status or not, if it has a barcode, the unit. For a salon, for the most, it's going to be each. There's going to be no ounces or pounds. If there's a cost, if there's a price, obviously there's a price, you put the price in there, and then you put the tax amount. Not the tax amount, whether if it's taxes enabled for tax 1, 2, and 3. So you fill all these out, by the category, the items, and so on. Once you have it set, save it, and then you can just import it back into here. Do an information, select items, select the folder that it's under, open it, and it'll check for barcode duplication. If everything's fine, you'll save it, and then you'll have everything, set up in place here. All right. So like I said, everything is pretty much the same procedure you do at a restaurant. And from here, you could always change the price, enable anything, or you could just go on your menu setup and do it from here. Go into that particular item. All right. And you just adjust it through here. Okay. All right. So like I said, so from here. Same thing, when you want to input, set up all the items from the Excel format, you're gonna go under that particular category that is gonna work under. Click the little arrow, look for that particular manicure category that you're looking for, and you just start setting up your items one by one. Same process as restaurant. So it's up to you which way you want to go, but that's the process. All right. So that's how you do that's how you add the menus through here. All right. Same thing here with the POS screen layout. You can set up the main menu. So for the most part, there's really nothing to replace. Everything is basically, there's nothing to replace it with. You can kind of maybe shift these around if you wanted to, but these are all the options that we have, So I usually don't, I just leave it the way it is. Payment button settings, cash, credit card, and so on. Maybe they don't take gift cards, you could take that out. They don't take checks. Living Social, Groupon, WeChat Pay, I think is a new one that we have, or Alipay. So, you can kind of, shift these around any way you want in case that's what you want to do. But it's basically just a layout. But the layout's pretty much straightforward anyway. All right. Other settings, same thing with the discounts. You create the discount names, add the cash draw. It's usually cash 1, cash draw 1, cash draw 2, additional ones. So yeah, so this is pretty much all repetitive from the restaurant cloud. Manage a function, you see the well, there's no announcement on the salon, it's only for restaurant. You have your time card, reports, payroll. You can see, range of dates, any range that you're looking for. Pull up the employee, and you can see exactly, what the hours are, what the pay rate, what the pay is. You could print it out, export it to an Excel format. Manage booth rental. From here, this is kind of, you'll be able to see your invoices or create invoices for the booth rental, which still has to be set up. You'll see the employee, if it was paid, how did they pay, cash, credit card, what the balances, and you'll have like invoice numbers here listed, the date, the employee name, the amount that they paid, and what the balance is. Alright, so you can see a breakdown of booth rental. Okay, customer, same thing with the customer information. You could see all your customer information. You could do coupons. Alright. Operation report. See the graphs and charts. Sales report. Different reports here. Same thing with the restaurant sales, but we're a salon. There's commission reports that you can access, and the day reports. You saw your tax reports, your sales, employee sales, and so on. And sales record by employee day, which you could all download to Excel format as well. Settings, pretty much the same, same option with the settings. The business hours, booth rental. This is if you want to set up the booth rental. This would have to be set for yes. By default, it's set for no. Your tax, what your tax is, what your tax rate is for sales tax 1. Obviously, there's nothing for 2 and 3 because you don't use it. POS, credit card. You have to make sure the MID is in here. You charge ID if they process through us. The password. But yeah, all of this is the same thing we just went over with the restaurant. So, gift card. Put that information in, payment processing, put it in your MID, what acquire are they on, what platform. Other receipts. You also have an option here, you could print a tip and a commission report after you cashier out, which is a good thing to have, after you do reports. Everybody can see what, well, that's if they want. They do have actually, again, that separate report printed out. Also, sales by employee report if you want that. Otherwise, you could always check it in the back office. So other than that, it's pretty much very, the same thing. We just went over with the restaurant side. Inventory management, same way you check your inventory through here. You add it the same way. Like I said, there's no notifications. You just have to manually and see where the numbers are at. Okay. And that's pretty much it from the back office here.